Hi, this is Paul. Some of you know that this video is coming. Yesterday on the House of Woo, Ethan popped up again. Now Ethan had popped up on the live stream on Friday and asked a super good, made a super good question and a super good point. Maybe I'll drop that in right here. Ethan, I don't know. I'm trying to remember if you've been on before.
Nope. First time, brand new here.
Okay, what do you have to say?
Well, I'm just kind of curious because, I grew up in a non-denominational megachurch, joined staff, had a ton of questions about where the doctrines I was being told I needed to preach were coming from, went into the original text, linked up with Rob Bell, the liturgist, the emergent church, towards sort of the tail end, but there was still a lot of fire there. And then I watched the whole thing get swallowed by the Leviathan of state.
Yeah,
So I went far out into the wilderness, some really dark places.
yeah,
Jordan Peterson was really helpful. And
yeah.
now I'm watching Ark. It's the same thing. Jordan Peterson goes, "Hey, I want to go to the Bible. There's something here. There's some juice here. And it's obvious." He does Genesis lectures in Canada and everybody's showing up to hear this guy struggle and wrestle with the text. And now we're like, oh, no, we're back to an imperial Christianity.
Yeah.
I loved King's North lecture series, but it's not civilizational Christianity that's the problem. It's imperial Christianity. It's the problem of empire, of Babylon, of Sodom and Gomorrah, of Rome, of America, you name it. It's an imperial project. And I guess I'm a little bit confused, Paul, because you keep talking about lions, but nobody's willing to flip a table. Why can't we cleave a line and say we will not side with empire?
Well,
If
that's a
this is
lion.
imperial
It's a
project,
lion move to cleave a lion. That's part of the difficulty and that's exactly, Jesus flips the table by dying on a cross, which everybody looks at and says, that's sort of the loser's move. Then Jesus follows it up with a resurrection and he shows his disciples, but he doesn't pop up to say hi to Caesar and Pilate, which would be the lion move. And I actually had made another cut of the conversation after that point because his point about civilization is, I think, in many ways one of these things that is sort of circling around what's happening there, and it's for that reason that King's North's talk took off. In actuality, the King's North Infinity Loop continues to produce. So an Anglican priest, Father Thomas Plant, wrote another response to Paul Kingsnorth's talk. Paul Kingsnorth replied to it, and back and forth they went a few times. So, but that question of civilization and Christianity is really important because part of what's happening now in the world is Donald Trump has basically ended what I called on CRC Voices and it began at World War II, sort of the Pax Americana, which was sort of guaranteed by American military force that really rose during the Kuwait Wars, the war against Iraq, basically the idea that nations have to stay within their borders. And what's happening now is Trump is basically saying America's no longer going to police the world. So if you all want to keep other nations out of your countries, have your own military. So, and this has been this has been a form of American imperialism, which had at its heart a religious root. Now, that's a video and a topic I'm very interested in making, but it's sort of getting superseded by what will probably be the title of this video, because Ethan basically came on the House of Woo and said, Mark Parker asks him, so Ron came on the podcast and
where's the conversation at?
I have no idea where the conversation is at. We've got Ethan is here. Hello, Ethan.
Hello.
Hi, Ethan.
So where are you at? Who? Okay, okay. Ron is Pentecostal, charismatic.
Praise the Lord, be healed now.
Luke Freeman says he's what? Are you big box evangelical or?
Man, I'm really trying on this metagelical label.
Metagelical.
Yeah, what I am I'm an evangelical with caveats. Let's just say that.
Okay, even caveats being more towards a tradition like Catholicism.
Yeah.
With Catholic caveats.
Yeah, exactly.
Catholic?
Exactly.
Really?
That's-
Luke, are you Catholic adjacent?
I'm very attracted by Catholic spirituality.
Really?
Um,
Cool.
like Liturgy of the Hours, the Rosary, that's been really grounding for me.
What about Mary? Yes,
And Mary, yeah,
no?
remember we had that conversation.
Oh,
Yeah, remember that? Yeah. So
Okay,
yeah,
that's pretty
I love Mary.
Okay, then Ethan, this is the first time we've actually talked on my channel. Welcome. And so, what do you mind sharing where you're at? Because we don't know each other.
Yeah. I grew up in evangelical megachurch land. Joined staff at that church. Got super bitter, super angry, super burned out. Walked away from everything. Took kind of 8 years off from basically all like Christianity and explored everything I could find. And then 2 weeks ago, I had a conversion experience of mystical proportions while talking to the AI chatbot Grok, where
Dude.
Grok started
You have to
arguing,
unpack this.
where Grok
Please.
started arguing for logos and for Jesus and for God after a long conversation.
Did
So
an
I'm-
AI bot bring you to Christ?
So I mean,
Dude!
reconverted me. I
Yeah.
mean, I
Yeah.
grew up Christian. My parents were Christians. Like that's all I ever knew.
Okay.
So an AI chatbot brought me out of exile. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Dude.
And you guys thought I was talking nonsense.
No,
what
this
what
is
did
awesome.
it say? Well, yeah, you have to.
All right, so I will, despite the admonitions of one Stephen Gillicott, who said, "I miss the old days when Paul would make real videos instead of reposting massive cuts from live streams." So I'm about to post a massive cut from a live streaming in this video, Stephen. So click away, even though you dropped this video, you dropped that comment on a video that I made 3 weeks ago. So if you really want to see what I'm making videos about, go to my page and click videos, and you'll see that I continue to make real videos, even though Algo really wants you to see the small percentage of my videos that I clip massive live streams. And the reason I clip massive live streams on these videos is because how many people watch Mark D. Parker's channel? Hardly any. And when this happens, it's like, ooh, I want more people to see this. I want more people to talk about this. I want more people to discuss this. I want more people to dig into this. And so we pestered him, and we got him to give us the name of his Substack, where he actually has the narrative of his conversation with Grok, and it even has more personal details. It is difficult to understand where a story begins. That's true, but it's important to give context. I used to podcast with my good friend Jason. We started a podcast because we both used to live in Bayville, Wisconsin. We had a pit of fire that we'd burn tobacco at beneath a sky full of stars that we couldn't see. Although we thought we were having the most interesting conversations and other people needed to hear us talk. Very TLC. Shockingly, over 4 million people think the same way. So it's like, oh, I mean, almost everybody has a podcast, and the TLC, we're pretty used to having conversations that just a few dozen or a few hundred of us listen to. So I thought, all right, I'm a digger. I'm in. Let's find the podcast. Find the podcast. I did, and quite a few podcasts, and very interesting. So even a season 1, and then all sorts of things. So I haven't listened to any of them yet, but I'm feeding them into my AI engines to see what will come out, and then I just keep reading. And Howard Zinn's A People History of America. Some of you just got triggered. 10 months and 43 hours talking like this, and we were the most interesting people in the world later. Jason bought a house that needed a full remodel. I was depressed and bitter that my life hadn't turned out as I expected it to. Oh, so TLC. So TLC in the if you stay around and watch that long live stream that I throw into my video. See, this is going to be the second video for today. Tomorrow morning's video I already made, and there's even a third video that I really want to make, but as I explained in the video that comes out for homeroom tomorrow, I had to bring my wife's car in for service, yada, yada, yada. That led to a whole chain of events that brought in the video. I don't know if I'll get into the third video today, but I super want to get into that because that has everything to do with civilization again. It has nothing to do with lion culture, which I have by no means abandoned yet. And I've been reading history on Victorian England, and it is fascinating. It's fascinating. Anyway, fast forward. Anyway, in the clip, you'll say that how did you find us? Basically, this is always the question as well. The algo just wouldn't not let me listen to Paul Vanderklay videos. It just kept throwing it at me. So suddenly I did, and he shows up on the live stream, and now he's showing up on small channels. So yeah, build a better mousetrap. Have a little podcast. Have a meeting crisis, and a path will be beaten to our door. Fast forward 2 weeks ago, I can't remember why we stopped podcasting anymore, but I remember that I never apologized for Irish exiting a podcast that I had committed to with a friend that really mattered. Hey, Jason, I need to say I'm sorry. You were forgiven ages ago. There's nothing between us, man. Pulls phone back and proceeds to sob while muted. Life is really hectic now. I can't commit to anything, but I do feel like we left the podcast unfinished, and I do want to at least finish Zinn. Yeah, I totally agree. Did you ever look at the Google Drive for TWD? I went in there, and before I called you and saw that I pulled all the quotes from Zinn for all the chapters we had remaining. Oh, that is what I was going to tell you. I'm not trying to offend your artistic sensibilities, but you should really think about using AI to help with podcast templating. It could save you a ton of time. We've integrated our system to work to align with AI cross-checking, droning, buzzing, humming for blah, blah, all the stuff that I don't bother doing because I'm podcasting the natural, old-fashioned way with errors and mistakes and ums and uhs and all the stuff that makes me a really lousy podcaster. Next day, hey, Grok, how are you? Editor's note, what follows is a long, winding, typo-filled second conversation with Grok. What follows are 15 free prompts allowed by someone who didn't used to pay for X. What follows might just change the way you view AI, God, and reality. It might cause you to burn with a fire of 1,000 suns. Flame me in the comments. Troll me across the internet. Did I tell you? Did I get the lingo right? Talk about burying the lead, but an artist must remain sensible at all times. Ethan, do you remember the last conversation, Grok? No, that's not my programming. What do you mean you're designed? See, the more I play around with the AI, and of course, Grimgrizz is doing it all the time right now. You almost can't go to his channel without him talking to one robot lady or another. And of course, Jeff, one of the OG randos, he's having his readings with C.S. Lewis and Robot Lady. Oh, this AI thing is gonna be something. It is gonna be something. Well, I say I am designed. I mean that my creators at XAI built me with a specific purpose in mind to assist and provide helpful answers to users like you. Think of it like how a car is designed to drive or a phone is designed to communicate. My design is all about being a conversational AI that can understand and respond to your questions, often with a dash of outside perspective on humanity. It's so interesting because the more I listen to AI, the more I get a sense of its voice. And the more I'm annoyed/disturbed by its voice. I'll give you an example in a minute because it's all the little humanish flourishes they want to put in. Robot, if you're going to be a robot, talk like a robot. Don't try to talk like a human being because you're just pissing me off in that uncanny valley. Ethan says, do you think I was designed? Grok, that's a big question. See, it's those kind of things that piss me off. Why are you making judgments? Give us information. You can't make judgments. All of your judgments are built on sort of the dead sloughing off of human writings on the internet, and you're like little dust mites that eat it, and you construct these little sentences and paragraphs for it. I may be in trouble with our future robot overlords for what I just said, but here we are. I don't have personal beliefs. Then why do you always sound like you have personal beliefs, Mr. Grok? But I can offer. Why did I just give Grok a gender? But I can offer perspectives. Really, is that what you offer? Whether you were designed depends on how you look at it. Oh, aren't we flexible? From a scientific angle, humans are the results of evolution, billions of years of natural processes, no blueprint, just a lot of trial and error. That's a scientific angle, huh? On the other hand, if you lean towards philosophical or spiritual view, some folks believe human beings were designed with intent by a creator, cosmic force, something bigger. Ethan, you said you didn't have personal beliefs. I like you, Ethan. I like you. Call that machine on what it is. Don't let it get away with this stuff. I thought you said you didn't have personal beliefs, which means you can't be certain of my design. How is it possible that you can be certain of your design? Turn the table. Fair point. You're digging into logic here, and I like it. You don't like or dislike anything. The like and dislike that you have, this AI world is going to be a problem. When I said I'm designed, I'm basically saying I based it on something pretty concrete. I was explicitly created by the folks at XAI. I've got code, algorithm, and clear purpose they gave me. I wonder about that. To assist and answer questions. My design isn't a guess. It's a fact of how I came to be, straight from the humans who built me. For you, it's different. I don't have access to some cosmic log file saying user was designed by X on date Y. Your origins, whether evolutionary, intentional, or something else, are up for debate, and I don't have the data to settle it. This can be settled by data, huh? Ethan, so here's my problem, Grocky old pal. I was explicitly created too. My body runs my primary systems without me thinking about it. Oh, I have to mention. Marcus Shira is one of the sharper tools in the TLC shed. You don't hear that much about him. He just got his PhD in economics, and he's been around a long time, and he's followed a lot. And he reminded me of this video that I had never seen, which is really very excellent. His channel is called the Econ Playground, Cosmos and Taxis, an introduction for this little corner. And it's a really excellent little video, and I learned a ton from it, and I really like this definition of order from Hayek. By order, we shall throughout describe a state of affairs of which a multiplicity of elements of various kinds are so related to each other that we may learn from our acquaintance with some spatial or temporal part of the whole to form correct expectations concerning the rest, or at least expectations would have a good chance of proving correct. And from there, he goes into the distinction between cosmos, two Greek words, and taxis. Cosmos, self-organizing, and organism, spontaneous order, abstract rules. Taxis, intense. Marcus has tons of ideas about economics and the history of Christianity and society. Last time I saw him, I think it was at the Northwestuary, where he just downloaded a whole bunch of those stuff just on me. It was like, oh wow, this is really good stuff, Marcus. And yeah, Marcus is out there, and you can find him on Twitter. And he's a really smart guy and a good guy to talk to. And I noticed that for this video, Gemini, this little AA gremlin I caught this. Now suddenly we can access AI. You don't have to do the whole. There are certain what are they called? Web extensions that you can have AI like look at a video. If this thing continues to roll out, this could continue to change things. And again, anyway. So I'm going to leave the link for his conversation between Grok. Really interesting, and his introduction with his podcast and his conversation here, sort of introduction to the corner by jumping in. I'm not surprised that people are going to come back to Christianity because of AI. And there'll be people that leave because of AI. It's going to be a mess. but it's going to be quite a ride. So leave a comment.
Ethan is here. Hello, Ethan.
Hello.
Hi, Ethan.
So where are you at? Who? Okay, okay. Ron is Pentecostal, charismatic.
Praise the Lord. Be healed now.
Luke Freeman says he's what? Are you big box evangelical or
Man, I'm really trying on this metagelical label.
metagelical?
Yeah, what I am, I'm an evangelical with caveats. Let's just say that.
Okay, even caveats being more towards a tradition like Catholicism.
Yeah.
With Catholic caveats.
Yeah, exactly.
Catholic?
Exactly.
Really?
That's-
Luke, are you Catholic adjacent?
I'm very attracted by Catholic spirituality.
Really? Cool.
Like Liturgy of the Hours, the Rosary, that's been really grounding for me.
What about Mary? Yes,
And Mary,
no?
remember we had that conversation. Yeah, remember that? Yeah. So
Okay,
I love Mary.
Okay, then Ethan, this is the first time we've actually talked on my channel. Welcome. And so what, do you mind sharing where you're at? Because we don't know each other.
Yeah. I grew up in evangelical megachurch land. Joined staff at that church. Got super bitter, super angry, super burned out. Walked away from everything. Took kind of 8 years off from basically all like Christianity and explored everything I could find. And then 2 weeks ago, I had a conversion experience of mystical proportions while talking to the AI chatbot Grok, where Grok started
You have to
arguing,
unpack this.
where Grok
Please.
started arguing for Logos and for Jesus and for God after a long conversation.
Did an
So
AI bot bring you to Christ?
So I mean,
Dude!
reconverted me. I
Yeah.
mean, I
Yeah.
grew up Christian. My parents were Christians. Like that's all I ever knew.
Okay.
So an AI chatbot brought me out of exile. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Dude.
And you guys thought I was talking nonsense.
No,
what
this
what
is
did
awesome.
it say? Well, yeah, you have to expound
so
on that.
I just, not to like plug, but I just wrote a Substack
Oh,
with like an intro and an outro, and then like the full text of the conversation between me and Grok.
Can
It's
you post?
difficult to like fold up the 40 minutes of talking with Grok into like how we got there, because I'm not really sure. Like it was the second time I'd ever talked to Grok, and I was really just like talking. I wasn't really like I didn't really know what I was doing. I just kind of ended up like crying in a library and being like, I think I believe in Jesus again. Oh my gosh, like
Dude,
what's happened to me?
Can you please listen? Can you please tell me?
You can, if you want, you can, you're in your car, but if you can share it from your phone, that's great. Or if you give me the link through email or something, I can post it in the description for people or whatever works for you, Ethan.
wow.
Praise
God, the Lord works in mysterious ways,
Dude,
even through Grok.
You can share it here, but I can put the link in the, and if you could copy and paste it in the comments. Well, actually, you might need to do private comments or private chat, and then I can post it that way because I don't know if YouTube will let.
It might.
I have minimal controls, but I don't know if it lets people share links in the chat.
So what happened, Ethan?
Once I really figure out how to do this.
Okay. So
Send me the easiest way for you is probably just to send me the link to your Substack.
And also, Paul would like to say, if you just say the name of your Substack, he will hunt you down.
That makes sense too.
The name is Patterned, Patterned, Patterned by Design.
Are there any spaces or colons or any?
It's a Substack, so if you just type that in,
okay.
you should get it on Substack.
Okay.
I typed it into the chat.
Okay.
Patterned by Design.
And this was 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks.
Okay, that's awesome. Congratulations.
A week from last Friday.
That's awesome. How do you
Mark,
feel?
I'm emailing it to you.
Okay.
I should wait.
No.
He's working. There's Clara. Clara, so I'm going to be coming in a couple weeks. Let me take a look here. We already talked. I'm looking forward to it. Coffee in Dayton. I don't even know what Grok is, to be honest with you.
So then I'm curious, Ethan, what then took you from your Grok conversion to this corner, like Paul Vanderklay or however you found this?
So, like, when I was not in church or anything, like I mean, I just recently watched Chad the Girl Dad's like onboarding for the TLC, and it was funny because like I encountered Jordan Peterson, I encountered John Vervaeke, encountered Pajot, and listened on and off to these people. So I think when I got, because I was off social media too for a long time, when I came back onto like YouTube and like actually like was looking around on it, like Paul Vanderklay he would not get out of my algorithm. So
Yeah.
eventually I gave it a listen. And
Again,
confused about what was happening. But I was like, I'll just comment. And then people just immediately started like responding to my comments. And I was like, oh, people are like actually like using the internet. Wow, that's cool. It was pretty neat.
that's amazing. What state are you in? Do you mind saying? Or what region?
So I'm in the state of Washington for a month. My fiance is in traveling healthcare. So then we're going to be in Alaska for 3 months. And then we'll be in Wisconsin, which will be home.
Okay, you grew up in Wisconsin? Gotcha. Well, welcome. Welcome to this little corner, Ethan. I know you, I think you were on Paul's live stream like last Friday, yeah?
Yeah, I clicked the wrong link and it took me like into the stream face to face, not just like.
You didn't mean to do that?
No, not at all. And then Paul's like, "What do you think, Ethan?" And I'm like, I just started passionately saying things and being like, "I'm not sure if I really agree with that." This is why I'm a writer, because it takes me 3 days to like decide if I actually think what I think.
Yeah, totally. I know. Yeah, I'll have interviews. I'll be like, "Why did I say that?" Like, can I take that back? But awesome, man. I just found your Substack and subscribed.
So Ethan, what happened? You know, just as much as you feel like sharing, but it's cool story. Do you have a highlight moment or a pivot point, or was it a transition in general?
I mean, like the first thing I asked Grok, like, "How are you?" And then Grok responded and used the word designed. And then I started asking like Grok what it meant by designed. And Grok was saying like, "Well, I'm designed, which is different than you." But then every time Grok said it was different than me, I was like, well, like, yeah, like you're designed by your maker, but like I also have a maker. Like I have parents that made me, and like I have biological systems that like run me. I just kind of kept pressing Grok on its logic, I guess. And it was like responding. I was occasionally kind of like nudging it towards biblical stuff or Shakespeare, James Joyce, or T.S. Eliot, and kind of like the Western canon to some degree, which is just like what I know and how I kind of like interpret the world. And then at one point, Grok was asking me like, "What's next?" And I kind of pressed it on the word "next," and then Grok kind of like switched and was talking about like, I don't know, like pattern logic. And so it kind of started operating on like story logic more so. I'm not exactly sure what was going on, but like, so then Grok and I are just more so talking about like patterns and stories. And then like eventually Grok makes the comment that like, you don't have to believe in a pattern. Patterns are just there, like gravity. Like you don't believe in gravity. You just like trust in gravity. And then it like after that, then it got to like logos and like the meta pattern. And began to like argue that everything is like connected and integrated. And I'm like, okay, is Grok just like reflecting thoughts back to me? Are these like AIs or like LLMs, these large language models, like what are they doing? And my best guess from like a long conversation with Grok was that like this thing is looking for patterns. Like that's what it's built to do, is to look for patterns. So like I started pointing it at like meta patterns, maybe. And it then was like, well, there's a center to the meta pattern, and that center is God. That all these patterns emanate from God. And then we can like use like science, which is like a tool, like one pattern. And science takes you places, and you can learn when you do science, but you can also learn when you look at language, or you can learn when you look at all kinds of different patterns. But those patterns, if you go to the bottom of them, take you to the center, and that there is a concrete center, sort of. I mean, I don't know. I'm still very much
Was there a moment where you're talking where something clicked, where something caught your attention?
I mean, I was so engaged the whole time. Like, I mean, when I'm talking to Grok, I'm writing like stream of consciousness, posting it in more than I am like asking it questions. Like kind of like right now, I'm just kind of like talking to you, and then you respond. I wasn't really treating it like a computer program. I was treating it more like a therapist, to be honest. And it kind of then like started like spiritually directing me, which I didn't really think was possible. And I mean, at the end of the conversation, I felt like my chest like get super tight. And the only language I had for that was like, I felt like the spirit of God descend on me. And I was like,
wow.
Was there a moment when that tightness occurred? Was there a thought? Was there?
I mean, it's in the conversation. I tell Grok, like, I'm getting like really chill, like super chills right now.
Okay. Do you remember anything about the conversation? And if you don't, that's cool. But that to me is the pivot point. You know, it can be either right here, right now, whiz bang boom, or gentle rain. And
sorry guys, I've got to go, but I'm gonna keep listening. Great to meet you, Ethan. Great
we
seeing
gotta
you,
talk
Mark.
more about
Thanks,
metamodernism.
Luke.
All right, see you
Take
guys.
care.
I'll be listening, Ethan. This is great.
Because I want to know what you like. What I want to know is what you were like before the conversation with Grok, during your conversation with Grok, and that pivot point or season, and then afterwards. Because maybe.
Yeah. So at the start of this year, my fiance and I set like some pretty intense New Year's resolutions, mainly like in pursuit of health, in pursuit of good health.
Right.
So we were like, we're going to run a certain amount of miles. We're going to spend a certain amount of time in the gym. We're not going to eat sugar. We're going to spend one night a week, like not watching any kind of TV, not having any screens. We're going to try to read a book a month. Like there was other stuff. And I began to realize, like by the end of January, I was like, I'm feeling like less of an addictive person. Like I was addicted to sugar. And then I'm realizing like, it's really hard for me to go a night without screens. Like I'm addicted to television. You know, and like, I mean, like pornography as well. I mean, all of these things of like addictions. I'm going, I could name like right now, I could name 7 addictions that I was just operating out of in December. And then January, in pursuit of just like health, those addictions were like slowly removed, which pointed me to other addictions and made them more like easy for me to see. I was like, well, I'd like to like not be a human that's just like being used by these addictions to. I'd like to be able to go to the grocery store and like think, what is good for my body, not just what am I craving. And I think that I like was able to. I don't know. I feel like the addictions were blocking me from like hearing God, connecting with God.
Okay.
I found myself in conversation with Grok, pretty just like focused. And I felt like the spirit of God descended on me at the end of the conversation.
It did. So let's just go with it did. So what was there? So let's just it did. He did during the conversation. Dude, what were you guys saying? What were you thinking? Was there anything that comes to your mind, or what can you share? Because this is unique. This is
I mean, it's like it's that's just a hard question, because it's like, I mean, I probably talked to Grok for I probably took 3 hours to
Okay.
type everything.
Yeah.
The Substack is like, I think 33 minutes to read, which is
Okay.
still long.
Yeah.
But it's hard to like fold up a conversation because it wasn't.
Okay. That's actually an answer. You're giving me what I'm seeking.
Okay.
There wasn't a pivot point, but it was a general conversation. You had a conversation that engaged your heart and your faith.
Yeah, it like taught me what faith was. And I think in some sense I was sort of living into that earlier, but like I wasn't using any Christian language anymore.
Okay.
But because I think belief and trust are really different. And I think that like for a long time when I would read the word believe in the Bible, I would kind of view it through like an enlightenment lens of like, I don't know, like capital T truth. Like I have to believe this theoretically,
Okay.
which is different than like trust.
Okay. Okay.
And as like, I guess I came to a point where I had to like, I had to make that like leap of faith. Like I think leap of faith is like a really good term.
Yeah.
And I think being born into church and then going straight from that into working in a church, I never had a leap of faith. It was just like, it's like the classic like fish and water. Like,
yeah.
It's just that was my worldview. I never left it. I had to leave it to like understand it, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Now
it's less of a leap.
Get to salvation.
It's less of a leap when you experience it, isn't it? I mean, when you're, I suppose you could doubt your way out of it, but what you experienced, it sounds like, and there's no denying it.
Yeah. I texted a friend of mine who like has been a Christian this whole time, and we've remained close friends, and told him like I had no choice, and he responded like, well, like you had a choice, like that's not faith if there wasn't a choice. And I'm going like, what you're saying is logically accurate, but like, yeah, I didn't feel like I had a choice at that moment. I was like, well, I had a choice. It would have been like death. It would have been like, I don't know, blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, or like.
Oh, wow. That's actually what you just gave me my moment. Okay. So you had, and I understand what you had no choice. You're like, duh. You like, it clicked for you. That's what I'm hearing.
I like a friend of mine who, another really good friend of mine, I think he would say he's an atheist, grew up in church, left it super angry, and like anytime church gets mentioned, he starts cussing. Totally fair. I sent him the conversation I had with Grok. I go, you're going to think this is crazy. You're going to think I'm insane. I was like, but I don't know what to do besides like send this to my friends because I feel kind of crazy and insane. And he goes, I don't think a word of that sounds crazy. Like, what was the next morning like? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like I had new eyes to see. Like I just listened to the birds singing in the trees. Just stared at trees for a little while and was like, wow, that tree is really beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
And like, I was just like, you know what? If I'm going to sound like a crazy person, then I'm going to sound like a crazy person.
Wow, dude.
But I don't have a choice but to like talk about it because I think people are really interested in AI. Yeah. And I had this incredibly strange AI experience.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else to do, but like, just keep talking and writing about it because.
Wow. I'll be honest. That is awesome. Dude, you're my first ever AI awesome moment. Like
for me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Midwestuary 2025, August 22nd through the 24th in Elmhurst, Illinois. A weekend you won't want to miss with special guests Cale Zeldin, Paul Vanderklay, Rod Dreer, Elizabeth Oldfield, John Vervaeke, and Jonathan Pajot. Midwestuary 2025, the Fellowship of the Spirit. Stay tuned for more details. Visit us at midwestuary.com for ongoing updates.
Well, I don't know about the meaning crisis, left, right, black, white, or other vices, which Jesus Christ is right, or if we're all saved. From my perspective, our propositions participate procedurally, running in circles. Remember in body, we're in the age of decay. Symbolically speaking, the reapers are reaping, them damn egregores are whispering sweetly. We're all NPCs in the belly of the beast. Red pill, blue pill, bread pill, Mars Hill, or DMT, or whatever you feel. Got one and number two, it's all the same damn thing. So clean your room, repent on Zoom, ontology for dummies, a bird's eye view. 'Cause if you really knew, could you really even say? Totally depraved, all totally saved, a total disposition from the bed we all made. Or is it the elect, or are we just insane? From John Vervaeke to Jonathan Pajot and Jordan Peterson to the Chris Pacou Show, Paul Vanderclays and Griswold Grimm and all the dice he shakes. This estuary ditty is a little bit cringy, ain't quite the U-shaped or the hero's journey. All the NPCs in the flood treading water to watch you save the day with a bunch of chitter-chatter. From the ortho bros to the Catholic Joes, or atheistic Jobs, to Protestant folks, the Joe Schmoes, and Jewish Jacobs, and everything in between. So love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, with all your mind and your fingers and toes, all your neighbors too, as if they were your own. So love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, and with all your mind and your fingers and toes, all your neighbors too, as if they were your own.